If you guys are looking to lower your haircut times, one of the easiest ways you can do that is by setting up your station properly. So in this video, I'm going to show you real quick how I set up my station for like maximum efficiency. So let's just get right into it. So this is my station right here. I'm in the barbershop. This is our south side location. I work at another location and I'll make a different video so I can show you my station setup over there. But as you can see, all of the stations setups are almost identical here in terms of like the way they're set up, but everybody does their setups a little bit differently, and I will show you mine. So the first thing I want you guys to notice is where my mat is. So the reason why it's kind of off to the side like that is because I actually stand right here. So when I'm cutting hair, most of the time, I'm standing right here and I'm turning the chair. So, and I'll stand behind the client usually when I'm cutting the top or when I'm doing the consultation. But for the rest of the haircut, they're not looking at the mirror because I need the mirror. And I also want to stand here because when I go to grab a tool from over here, I don't even have to move my feet. Maybe I'll shift them a little bit, but I'll just grab my stuff, turn, go back to cutting hair. I tend to use a chair. I turn it a lot when I cut hair. And I think it's kind of a waste of time to like always have your client in the chair. Some barbers do it and they don't have a problem with timing. But if you're struggling with timing and you always have your client facing the chair, then I would recommend trying to learn how to stand in one spot and use the chair to your advantage. It's just, it is a little bit more difficult when you have clients that are big, hard to turn, or maybe you have those clients that they put their feet on the ground, and they want to see themselves the whole time. You're going to have clients like that. But I think for the majority of the clients, they're okay with you turning the chair. So you find a spot where you want to stand and try experimenting by turning the chair as you cut. Don't walk around the chair. Not only is that going to beat up your feet, but like if I'm standing over here, look how far away I am from my stuff, right? So that's the first thing. This is the mat. And I also have the handle or the foot, whatever, pump right here. I can access, this is a wider one. So I can stand in the same spot. I can raise it up. I can lower it. I can also do it from over here. So paying attention to where you put that, really important. So then I'll take you over here. Obviously, we need a lot of power, and I definitely recommend having a power strip like this. Probably more plugs would be better. This one I think has 10, but a lot of these newer clippers come with these fat plugs. So even if they have a lot of plugs, if you have these fat ends, the adapters or whatever they're called, I mean, it eats up a lot of space. So definitely get at least 10 outlets with your surge protectors, if not more. My dryer is just a basic hair dryer. I use it for cleaning people off, so I didn't get the cheapest one. But I really want to talk about what's going on with the station here, not so much the specific stuff that I'm using. Really want you guys to take away from this video the mindset around what I have and where I have it, which I think is the most important thing you'll get out of this. So up here is basically where I keep my drinks, obviously, but also products. So I don't want to have to walk all the way to the product shelf every time I need a product. This is where we keep the back bar products, the stuff we use in clients' hair, and that's fine. But throughout the day, as I'm using products, I'll just put them back here because for the same reason, I want everything that I need to be like one step, grab it, put it in their hair, put it back. So ideally, you want to even have your products as close by as possible. So and I'll take you through each one of the drawers, but I try to keep my station neat and organized. I think organization is one of the most underutilized aspects of how to set up your station. I think just by organizing things the right way, you can cut your haircut times down because you don't have to go find things, they're all in their place. When it comes to my tools, I don't really want you guys to focus so much on exactly the type of tool that I have because tools are always getting better. And this is just what I currently use. And I have a totally different setup at my other location. But what I want you to think about and take away from this part is why I have the tools that I have. So these are my clippers. These are the Stylecraft Rebels, and these are the JRL Onyx. Um, they're both great clippers, but over time, clippers get better. But what I really want you to think about is having two. Doesn't really matter what the clipper is. What I like about these clippers is, they just do what I need to do, right? And yeah, they're great clippers. And I did a lot of research before I bought them, but there's a reason why I have two. And that they're not the same. Because I think they're a little bit differently. Some are better with some hair than others. So I don't think that you should have all your tools do the same thing. I think every tool should be a little bit different. And I definitely highly recommend having two clippers if you can, because when I'm using this clipper, this one is sanitizing and charging and cooling down. And then when I'm done using this clipper, when I move on to the next client, I'm going to pick up these. I'm going to let these sanitize and charge. I'm going to spray them with the disinfectant, let them charge, let them cool off while I use these. And I just do that all day. I go from one clipper, use it, put it back, go to the next clipper, same thing. And I tend to do the same thing with the trimmers too, but it depends. The trimmers are a little bit differently because they can't do the exact same thing. I like to use these trimmers for people with sensitive skin, longer hair, or just people that have like a really small hairline in the front where their eyebrow goes really close to their hairline. I like to use these trimmers right here. Kids, anybody with sensitive skin, those are great. These are the Andy Slimline. And I like to use these for trimmers. I like to use these instinct trimmers for anything that involves really heavy line work. They need sharp lines, beard work, you can use it for bulk removal. They're really powerful. But you'll notice that they have completely different blades. And that's for a reason. I don't like to have the same tool that does the same thing, except with the exception of the clippers. So this has, a smaller blade. This has a wider blade. So if I'm doing a lot of line work, I'm going to go for these. If I'm not doing as much line work, I'm going to use these. So I think that you should have two trimmers for also the same reason as the clippers, but these do different things too. So for certain situations, these are better. For certain, these are better. And I will also go back and forth too. So I'll let these disinfect and charge while I use these, and vice versa. And then I use the detachable clippers for creating my lines for skin fades. You can also take these blades out and put another blade on there. But I pretty much exclusively use these for bulk removal, which I think that they're perfect for. I wouldn't recommend fading with them. You can if you want, but I pretty much exclusively use those for bulk removal. And then I have a shaver here, which this is the Stylecraft Instinct. It's all right. Same thing. If you can, I definitely recommend having two shavers. So this is the Stylecraft. This is the Babyliss UV. Again, while one is disinfecting and charging, you can use the other one and you can just rotate back and forth. And then when it comes to the rest of my station, as you can see, I like to keep this top drawer really empty because this is where like a lot of hair gets. So I don't want to keep anything out here that I want to keep clean. So this top drawer stays pretty empty with the exception of the things that I need to get to on a regular basis. So this is my brush, which I highly recommend for cleaning your tools. A regular paintbrush is really a great tool, especially when it comes to cleaning the shavers, because it can really get into that head of the shaver a lot better than like a regular brush might. I also recommend having a magnetic tray like this to hold your blades, because these blades can fly around and they can end up in a washing machine if they're not secured. So definitely recommend having a magnetic tray to hold your blades. This I think is really important. I see a lot of barbers not doing this, but having the colored guards is extremely important. And one of the things that I think is the most simple, if you insist on getting new stuff, this is probably, I think, one of the first places you should start. But having your guards organized like this, but also having the color guards. I broke the 5 and 6 guards, so I'm going to replace those. These are just the black ones. But I really like having the idea of having color guards, because you can you don't even have to look at the number. You can just pick it up and know, without even looking at the number, if they're all different colors. If they're all, like these are the wall premium guards, and I see a lot of barbers using these, and these are great guards. But the problem is that they're all the same. So if you have a pile of them and you're not using an organizer, you're gonna have to pick maybe a few of them up before you can decide like, oh, okay, this is the one I need. Whereas if you have the color guards, which I don't think that these are that much more, and I don't think that these are that much tougher than the color guards. I think that the color guard's extremely important. It can save you time. It's such an easy investment. They're like 20 bucks, maybe 30, I don't know, but definitely recommend having color guards. And also notice that these are all facing the same way, which is maybe a little bit of an OCD thing that I do, but I feel like if they're all facing the same way, then it makes changing guards, which is one of the easiest ways that you can save time, is just making that guard switch a little faster. And if they're all facing the same way, it just makes that process a lot smoother. So then I'll take you through the rest of my station. That drawer is empty. And this is where I keep my combs and my brushes. So I have different tools. So this is the organizer that I just got from Amazon. Is just a regular kitchen utensil organizer. It expands just so that I can keep all my stuff separated. I like to keep my combs that do different things separated. So these are my regular cutting combs. I got my clipper combs here. I got my taper combs. I got like my stuff that I barely use ever, like my brush and stuff like that. My backup, my other blades for my detachable clipper, and then my brushes. My brushes are definitely this is something I definitely recommend for skin fades, because they can definitely save you time just by using brushes instead of combs, because sometimes it's just the hair is laying on the scalp and it looks like it needs to be faded, but it doesn't. It's just dirty. And using a brush instead of a comb to brush that hair away can actually save you time on skin fades, I think. And then I'll definitely recommend having backup guards, because you will drop your guards and they can just break out of nowhere. But if you have backups, then your day doesn't have to end, right? You don't have to borrow guards from somebody else, and they will break. It's just a matter of time. But you're going to drop a guard one day, or just especially these half and the 1.5 guards can be really flimsy. So having plenty of backups for those, and then I have backups for everything. So that I keep all my guards. I have at least one backup for almost every tool or guard that I have. And then the rest is just empty. We keep our towels here. And then we keep this is where I can throw my dirty laundry and stuff like that. So that's how I set up my station for like maximum efficiency. I keep my headrest here for my barber chair. This is just some disinfectant. And this is the chairs that we use. Really expensive, but definitely worth it. Don't get cheap chairs, because they're just gonna have to replace them in 2 years. And then we got our light above there with the ring light. And of course I have that. I'm right-handed and I cut on this side. So I have the light going over my right shoulder. So that way I can see the best. So that's basically it. That's my whole station setup. Hope you guys found that helpful.